Lee Selby, Fernando Montiel. We are looking ahead at this PBC on ESPN fight card from Glendale, Arizona, October 14th. That's a Wednesday night. Alongside Brian Campbell, I am Jim Basketball. Dan Rayfield will join us in a moment. Brian, Selby won a world title, outpointing Yevgeny Gradovich, right? Good
Absolutely.
Fight. What did he show you in that fight that leads you to kind of have a peak interest moving forward?
Showed me a lot, Jim. Look, when you're talking about Selby, big for the featherweight division. In this fight against Montiel, he's going to have a 4.5-inch height advantage against Gradovich, though, who really applies pressure, tries to get in your living room from the opening bell. I really like what Selby did in terms of poise. Boxed off of that jab, but wasn't afraid to dig in and trade when he had to. And I thought, even with a guy coming forward this whole fight, Selby outclassed him. That fight ended early because of a cut, but it really announced Selby that this is a player. This is a guy with a title. Like to see what he can do moving forward. Got a good matchup here where he's really going to get a chance to show that.
ESPN boxing insider Dan Rayfield now joining us. Hey, Dan, 2011, he suffered a knockout loss to Nonito Donaire. That's Montiel. He's 11-1 since then, but he's 36. So how do you view him moving forward at this age?
Well, that was indeed a rough knockout against Nonito Donaire. I was ringside, and a lot of us thought, boy, that was as devastating as it gets. He did get up, but he was in la-la land. But that was also Nonito Donaire at his very best. Fernando Montiel is a veteran fighter. He's been a champion in multiple weight classes. And like you said, he's on a good winning streak right now against some solid opponents. So he's a test for Lee Selby. I mean, let's be honest. He is 36 years old. He's not what he once was. But he reminds me a little bit of the fight that took place recently between Antonio Orozco and Humberto Soto, where you weren't quite sure if Orozco could get over the hump of a real solid veteran opponent. And it kind of reminds me of that. Now, Lee Selby is a little bit more experienced than Orozco was because he has won that title. He beat Gradovich. But it's a similar kind of thing. You have sort of the aging Mexican warrior, a guy that's had a ton of experience. It's been a world champion that you're just not quite sure if he's done yet, but he definitely still has something left in the tank. So I think Fernando Montiel is going to go in there, going to give everything he's got, and it's up to Lee Selby to prove that besides the win against Gradovich, that he's for real and he can take apart a very experienced and a very respected former title holder in Fernando Montiel. I think he's got a little bit left, but Selby's young, he's strong, and he's really good. I think it's a tough night for Fernando Montiel.
Selby also from Wales, first fight outside of his native UK. Does that have any significance in your mind?
Absolutely. This has been something that for him has been coming a long way, you know, him and his management team. Look, Selby's come to the States in the past for training camps, been a sparring partner in his younger days, but coming into America defending a title in a big fight like this has been something that he's really looked at for a long time. In Selby's words, talking to him this week, he says it's something that will change his profile overnight. If he can come to the States, come in there against a credible opponent and win the fight. What he expects the opportunity can give him is a chance to really move up in that division, fight the big names in America. He hopes to fight 2 more fights here after this one if he can come across victorious. A big opportunity, Jim, although in the past, when guys make that leap from the UK, it doesn't always go well. He's going to have to dig in and really make this work, make this happen for him.
Absolutely. This featherweight division, Dan, deep, exciting. We've seen some good fights recently. What opponents might be out there for Selby should he get through in fine style?
Well, look, Lee Selby recently signed with Al Heyman, and that's the reason why he's coming to the United States to perform on a PBC card. And he was in attendance at the Leo Santa Cruz Abner Maris fight at the end of August, and I got a chance to talk to him there. And the whole reason that he's coming to America, besides to make his name here, he wants the bigger fights. The guy that he identified was, he said very specifically, he wanted the winner of that fight. This is, when we were speaking, was the day before the fight. Obviously, Leo Santa Cruz won that fight, pick up the belt. He would love nothing more than to take care of his business and move on to a unification fight against one of those guys. But the other thing that's good for him is that even if he doesn't get that fight, there's other fighters in the featherweight division that are under the PBC banner that would make for obvious fights. There's Gary Russell, who has a belt. Russell's going to defend his title coming up, soon. But after that, that's certainly a fight that's plausible. You have Jesus Cuellar, another fighter under the PBC banner that has a belt. There's a lot of opportunities, but certainly the fight he wants is against Leo Santa Cruz.
Set your calendars. Wednesday, October 14th, PBC on ESPN. That's a look ahead at Lee Selby, Fernando Montiel. We are making the rounds only on the boxing page of ESPN.com. For Brian Campbell and, of course, Dan Rayfield, I'm Jim Basketball. Thanks for watching.